Oh, really? What? Now, what'd your doctor say? Did you have good news?
No, it was my eye doctor. My eye doctor, because she gave me the wrong prescription, and she's not an ophthalmologist, so she had to send me to an ophthalmologist because she gave me the wrong medicine for my eyes, for my eye, 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And so my eye got worse. And she had to send me on an emergency basis to the other doctor, the doctor, by the hospital. So I had to wait there. I think I was there for 3 hours. So, yeah. And then I had to stop at Carolyn's to tell her sorry, and she kept me another 3 hours, and that's my day. Bad day.
All right.
By the end of the day. But I'll get my prescription tomorrow, and that will end it. I'll finally get on some decent eye drops, because it hurts. So, but I can't help but wonder what's going on, because I came home tonight, and I don't know if they're playing a PSYOP game or something's up, and over Carolyn, she was waiting on me, and our whole neighborhood was full of people. And when I left, they left, and then I come home, and my neighbors are all hanging out outside at the corner here, and I get in, and they leave. It's really odd.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like earlier we were talking, and we were talking about Benthurst, Brooklyn, and Benthurst, Brooklyn, from what I've researched, is the most concentrated area of mob guys in the country.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, part of my in-laws are over there. Yeah. Yeah, they own. That's where MP Santini Brothers is out of. Yeah, Santini Brothers is all out of those areas. Brooklyn, Queens. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. But at the same time, okay, like going back decades, the mob has had a lot of authority in the police departments in New York. Like everybody knows that the mob the mob can control cops. Everybody knows that. I mean, at least in New York, especially in New York City, like Chicago, places like that. And but at the same time, say somebody was a targeted individual and they're being gang stalked, it's completely possible for them to live in Benthurst and be gang stalked without the mob knowing what gang stalking is or that they're being gang stalked. Isn't that possible?
Absolutely.
Unless they saw unless they saw the person's YouTube videos and they start putting it all together.
Correct. You got it. Bingo.
So I'm wondering the guys high up in the mob, whatever family or little group, like the higher level mafia guys, what do you think they would make? From my perception, I think something like that would scare them, because they would be looking at it like they're not interested in following people around with lights and cars and stuff. They're interested in like loan sharking and.
First of all, nothing scares them. Second of all, doesn't really. And second of all, they would see that as really ridiculous.
That's really. What I mean. What I don't mean that it would scare them in a sense like they're not courageous, or it would like they're not brave enough to face it. I mean, it's too much heat.
Yes.
It's too much
for their illegal businesses. Yes.
It's too much heat because the mob's involved. The mob and the mafia is involved in big construction contracts worth millions of dollars, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or millions. Even the lower level mob guys got big rackets, and something that's connected to all this, something like gang stalking that's connected to all these neighborhoods and all these stores. They're not going to want to be connected to that, because
absolutely
they're not going to want their business and their names connected to all that other stuff.
That's correct. That's correct.
You know,
too much heat.
Too much heat. It's not something they're really a part of, and they don't want to be involved in something that they don't really get. You know, they got their own business. You know.
That's correct. That's correct. They got money to make, and they have their own things that have gone on for decades and decades, you know, like money laundering in all kinds of ways, and they've got half of New York City. You figure one Yankee game with all the bets they take in, that's a lot of money. And a lot of those businesses in New York are fronts for collecting that money, and so on and so forth. And that's just one avenue. So no, they don't want any part of that, and no, they do not. And this is all more military and police than it has to do with them. Now, the only connection I would see in this with them is that they're private guys that have done work for them do work for the police, and some of the names may crisscross via insurance policies or things like that. But other than that, no. No.
Right. And so okay, so now with like the contract stalking, the gang stalking stuff, you know, I'm trying to think of it realistically, coming from the point of view that they hire private investigators who claim that they're doing investigations on people for like say we're talking about arson, or they were even paying somebody to go around and say, like, you know, they had some woman who was on drugs, who didn't even have a high school diploma, going around telling people I raped a woman in 1995, and in 1995 I was 10 years old. And I don't know if she messed up the paperwork, and it was supposed to be like not as long ago as it was, but something was wrong with it. Well, she was making up false investigations, and they were using all sorts of fronts. They had other fronts saying I was on, like, I wasn't supposed to be doing anything educational or work related, and I'm on SSI. They had all sorts of fronts they were running around using. And from my perception of the types of people I've come across in the world of the mob, you know, I think the mob would probably shake one of those people down if they were doing it. Like, if the mob could find out specifically who these people were, they might shake them down and find out who they're working for.
Yeah, they'd send somebody out to find out what's going on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of those private investigator guys crisscross paths. So yeah, they would.
They'd probably end up. I mean, you know, that's why I think a lot of these people involved in contract stalking are cowards, because if some guy like over there in Brooklyn or something, some guys in a mob outfit, like, you know, what you're familiar with, you know, from your family and all that stuff, if those types of people found out specifically who was putting this stuff out in the streets and doing this, I think they would be afraid that, you know, because those people, the mob would get a hold of them, and no one would ever see them again.
No, they wouldn't even know what happened to
them. They're doing this like, you know,
they wouldn't.
The people doing this, the people behind this stuff are cowards, because they try to do this contract stalking stuff to people in a way to where they can get away. They try to make it look legal, like it's by the book. But if it was legal and by the book, they could explain it to the person that it's happening to. They wouldn't have to conceal it. It's not really legal. They're trying to use a police angle to bully people.
Well, they are using the police to bully people to get away with it. But here's the thing. Okay, the police department is one thing. The mafia is another thing. And the mafia, you don't even know what happens with them. You know,
that's exactly.
Exactly. It's a totally different story.
The mafias. You know, the funny thing about it is from my perception, the mafia is more, in some ways, is a lot more legitimate than the cops, because if you think about it, the United States government wasn't founded until the 1700s, and the mob's been around for like 2,000 years.
Yeah, they have their own set of rules. They have their own set of rules, and those set of rules are pretty non-negotiable. And that's the whole thing. And so something like this that's going on gets found out, they won't even know what happened. They'll send somebody out probably and I hate to say this, but to literally sleep in their attic for a week, and then they don't know what happened to the person, or to, you know, basically be watching them, and they don't even know what happened to them. Really, they'll be sleeping in their bush for a month, and then they're gone.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
I feel that the Mafia is smarter than the FBI in a lot of ways, and
well, no, because you remember the wars back when they had, you know,
They had what?
They had, back in the day, they had investigators from the police department eventually, which took sometimes decades long, to actually catch the Mafia at some of their games. But they took a very, very, very long time before they did, if you remember.
I've seen stuff where I've seen on YouTube how the FBI shows up at people's houses, and when I sit there and I look at the FBI showing up at people's houses and I look at them, they look stupid. Are they supposed to look stupid? Is it an act, or are they really stupid?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
I think they hire... I think, like, police departments, they really don't want intelligent officers working for them. Because... isn't
that the truth? Like, what's up with that?
They don't want... This is what I've discovered about the federal government and the police. They don't want really intelligent... They don't want a lot of intelligent people in a police force. And they don't want a lot of intelligent people in the government. They don't want that.
Oh, yeah. Well, they never tell the left hand what the right hand's
right, because if you have a police department full of PhDs and you have an FBI office full of, extremely high IQs, they're going to find out how much corruption is going on right there in their own office.
Well, that might explain a lot of things.
Yeah, because I'm sitting over, I don't even have a high school diploma, and I sit around the internet finding out about, how cops are involved with covering up old murder cases and stuff, and people, I did that whole special on Jim Jones, how the real Jim Jones got away in Guyana.
Well, maybe that's why they are setting up a new system where they're reading brain algorithms and they're handing it over to an AI. Because maybe they're too stupid. But I can tell you this, my conversation very much right now as we're speaking today with a chief of police happened to be exactly that. His excuse, he got a phone call back from the mayor's office in my particular false, my false police report. And he said to me, my last conversation with him was, his excuse was a police officer hit the wrong drop-down boxes. And so he said to me, well, he told me that he hit the wrong drop-down boxes. I said, well, if you were to look over the whole police report, you would have seen that as soon as that police officer pulled up to the scene and got handed the note that was left on the woman's door, you would have seen that it was a court document, not a personal letter. Okay? So right off the bat, that was a lie. Either that or he's too stupid to read. So, and then that would throw that back on the police chief, because that would mean that he was too stupid to read, right?
Yeah.
So is everybody too stupid to read?
Yeah. And another thing is this. With the contract gang stalking stuff that the police are involved with and the government's involved with, why is it that a judge has to be dishonest and do all this stuff in his courtroom and the police have to do it, but I know some gang members in South Central LA who won't do it, who aren't involved in it. And then there's mob guys who don't want to be caught up in that silly ass nonsense. Why does the government have to be corrupt and frame people and follow people around, but a bunch of gangsters in some alley selling crack don't have to be involved in it? You see what I'm?
They do have to be involved in it.
They. What I'm saying is there's people out there who don't have. There's people out there who don't want to be involved in any of it. There's people out there who don't want it in their life. Like there's people. I knew a guy. He was a friend of mine. He didn't have anything to do with it. He didn't want to be involved in it, but the police have to be involved in it. But it's still illegal at the same time. So the police have to be involved with illegal.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the explanation to that. You want the explanation to that?
Yeah.
Okay, I have the answer for you. The reason that the police have to be involved in it is because they're setting up a new system and they're required to do so. Their new system involves multi-level new system, beginning with threat assessment levels 1 to 5. They've already been given laws in many cities that allow for psychological evaluation, which involves with mental illness. That's why the president is pushing for mental health issue bullcrap, as well as gun confiscation in regards to that. All these levels involved with crime as well, and association and history. And then you go down from there, and involves DNA, facial recognition, as well as iris scan and, fingerprinting, as well as reading brain algorithms. Okay, they've been using this for 8 years in many different cities. They are trying to pass it in Congress right now for all states, all cities. Okay, they just spent $350 million in surveillance balloons in over all major cities in the United States. This is one huge new system which will be hooked up to the AI. This is worth trillions of dollars, as well as globally, beyond belief. That's why they have to be involved.
See, this is going into like some Star Trek type stuff, because like in like back in the days in New York, like you had back in the days in New York, you had the old boat docks and stuff like that, and when you had threats coming in, when they were worried during World War II about the Germans or the Japanese, you had regular people just watching the boat docks, and in today's world, you have computers watching everybody.
Correct. But you throw this from the police department now into, talk about Star Wars, now we're throwing it into the military. It's not just involving the police department, it's also involving the military. Then, like I said, the AI will be running everything, but you go from the police to the military, you go into the new system again. That involves the military. Your algorithms on each person, each citizen has their own algorithms based off their EEG. They've been, targeted individuals have been unaware and have been, basically with the feedback loop system that developed it, they have been victims of the experimentation of this technology. That's how they developed it. And so now, if you look at the new technology on IARPA and DARPA, you see that the military technology is autonomous weaponry, where you have the tank pulls up, goes to the local area, the sides open up, and out comes these tiny little drones, and each drone is programmed autonomously, as well as the vehicle being driven autonomously to the area, and it is all programmed, and each one is programmed to the citizen's algorithm. So if they want to take out each individual citizen off their algorithms, that's how they take them out. This is the new technology in the military. They developed this off of their targeted individuals, and they were unaware. They didn't know what was happening to them. Gang stalking is just what they see, but the algorithms and all this other technology is what they don't see.
And you know what? You know what though? A lot of this stuff is connected. a lot of the stuff in the gang stalking is connected to FBI informant type stuff, police informant type stuff, because in an area in Michigan, Muskegon Heights on 7th and Hackley, there's some people I know that I've grown up with for years, and they're involved. Some of them are involved with the gang stalking stuff, and I don't want them anywhere near me. I look at it like, if I've been knowing you for years, and you're following me around with lights and stuff, you don't mean nothing to me. Fuck you. And I sit there and I watch the stuff, and these people are snitch bitches, because they tell people are ending up in jail. Like, there's certain people who sell drugs and never go to jail, and then there's other people who are being put under arrest and going to jail, and you can tell by the way they're being arrested that they're being set up. They're buying drugs from certain people, then right after they buy the drugs, the police show up. Hell, the guy who sold them the dope's working for the feds, or working for the state police.
Most of these people that are doing this are federal informants. I believe that many of the people that are running these conference calls are federal informants. They're gathering information to see what works and what doesn't work on different people and different situations. I know by the questions that I've asked them and the responses that they've given me, and my case is mine has all been straight up caught. They've all been caught in my case. And I mean, they've all been caught, left and right. But I don't stay back on things. I question a lot of different people and get my answers, so that's how they've been caught too. But these people are no good to anybody. The snitches are no good to anybody. Most of the low-level gang stalkers, the government already knows that they're snitch out. They're I can't say it. They're fellow citizens. So they know they're no good to them, and they know they're no good to them. You see what I'm saying? So they're sellouts. They're basically sellouts. They're not worth anything to anybody. They already know what they are. They're a lousy 2-bit coin. They give them a little 2-bit coin, and they're on their way. They're no good to anybody. It's actually the targets that are in the better situation, because they know that under no circumstances do they give in. So they're actually worth more to the government and to everybody, to themselves and to their fellow citizens. So it's true. Think about it. It's common sense. And the cops, when the Civil War breaks out in this country, which you know it will, because that's common sense as well. When the civil disputes all start to play themselves out, which they already are. You've got Antifa, you've got Black Against White, you've got everybody blaming everybody, you've got the Democrat, Republican, everybody's fighting with everybody already. And these things are already playing themselves out all around the world, and they're basically already happening, and it's only going to excel. You've got the shootings, the shooters, all of it's playing itself out already, and it's only going to get worse. So just use that as who's going to go down first, the police. Unfortunately, there's not enough of them to what's going to come, and they know it, and even the government knows it. So nobody's kidding anybody in this whole situation with anybody who's got a brain here.
Right. Wow.
It's just common sense.
Hey, let me call you